Another reading from Daughters of Liberation. So, like, comment, subscribe. Oh my god. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren and this is Lauren's Library. Today I'm going to be doing my February reading wrap up. I read a lot this month and then towards the end of the month I kind of got in a reading slump. But we're going to go through these books because I'm very proud of myself. I got a lot read this month. I think this is probably going to be my most read month in a while. But first we'll start out with Ties That Tether by Jane Igharo. This book follows our main character Azeri, who she is kind of having a rough time dating. She's made a promise to her parents that she will marry someone Nigerian to carry on their family legacy. She is first generation. She's a first generation immigrant from Nigeria. But she ends up meeting this guy who she ends up getting pregnant by, and she's kind of stressed out about it because she's like, my child is gonna be half Nigerian, half Italian. I think he was, what was his name? Raphael. I think he was Italian, or was he Spanish? He was one of them. It doesn't say here. But anyway, she deals with a lot of turmoil, trying to decide on how she's going to tell her mom, because her dad has passed away, and one of the promises she made to her dad was to marry someone Nigerian and carry on their family legacy. And so she bounces back and forth between not telling her mom or telling her mom, and then eventually she has to tell her mom, and her mom finds out, and when she finds out who the father is, she cuts off Azeri. She doesn't want anything to do with her. And then while she kind of moves in with Raphael, or they kind of try to deal with everything that's going on surrounding the pregnancy, she kind of takes those negative emotions that she feels towards her mom and directs them towards him. It was just a whole bunch of mess, and I really enjoyed it. I was surprised by it. This book is set in Canada. I know that is random to say, but I don't think I read a book set in Canada, and that's kind of hard to believe. But this is when I think they lived in Toronto. But I thought that was so strange when I realized that's where they live, because I feel like I should have read more books set in Canada, but I haven't. But that is the first book that we're gonna go for. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I just towards the end, like the conflict of her struggling to come to a satisfactory ending, I guess you could say, with the fact that she's having a child with someone who isn't Nigerian. It kind of got annoying towards the end because it just felt kind of whiny and childish. But I still ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I'm excited to read more from this author. Next, I read, finally, this was on my last year's February TBR, but it's Everybody Looking by Candice Elo. This is a book that's written in verse. We follow our main character Ada, and her dad, she lives in America with her dad while her mother lives in Nigeria or Ghana. Oh, Nigeria. I read these, it's like the middle of March, and I have to refresh my memory. But we follow her graduating high school and going to college and discovering herself and having all of these new experiences, and it's just beautifully written in verse. Unfortunately, I didn't really connect with this one as much as I thought I would. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed reading about how she coped with all of the different her emotions, because she had a very how can I say, unstable home life. It wasn't like abusive or anything like that. It was just like not stable. That's the best way I can put it. And she didn't have any privacy at home, and she just was going through a lot of changes with her mom coming to live with her, or going to stay with her mom, her aunt coming to live with them, and then having to go to school, and just it was just a lot for her. And I enjoyed those elements, but I just didn't connect to the story as much as I wanted to, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Next, what's next? Oh, these aren't in the order I read them in the month. I did not do that. I just had them on the card. But anyway, next we have War Girls by Tochi Onyebuchi. I read to page 50 in this book. That's usually my page cutoff if I'm not enjoying the book, to DNF or not finishing. And I DNF this book. While reading it, okay, I'll just go what it's about. So we're following these girls who are cyborgs. In the year 2172, there's like climate change. So the reason they're all like half human, half cyborg is due to acclimating to the changes of the climate. And that's all I really know about it. I just didn't care to continue reading it. I wasn't connecting to the story. It wasn't grabbing me to want to continue, and I didn't want to finish it, y'all. It wasn't a fun time reading those first 50 pages, so I DNF'd. Next, I guess I'll do these two together. Next, I have 2 graphic novels. First, Curlfriends, New in Town by Cherie Miller, and Brooms by Jasmine Walls and Tio Duval. Curlfriends follows our main character, Charlie, who has finally settled down into this new town, her dad's town that he grew up in after her dad has retired from the military. And Charlie is tired of being the new girl, so before she starts school and on her first day of school, she reads all these magazines to try to get advice on how she can fit in and have a different experience in school than she's had previously. And she ends up meeting this cool group of girlfriends, and it's just all about her trials and tribulations of trying to fit in and learning in the end to just be herself. And it was just a cute little fun middle grade that I had a good time reading, and I would highly recommend to any young girls out there. I give this 5 out of 5 stars, I believe. Next, we have Brooms by Jasmine Walls and Tio Duval. As I said before, this one follows 2 twins in 1930s Mississippi whose family is trying to hide them and their ability to participate in magic. In this world, women aren't allowed to, or women of color aren't allowed to be practicing witches. And so every time they come, the council or whoever it is, the city comes to see if they have magic abilities or not. They're supposed to take them away, like they did their cousin. I can't remember her name, but Luella. Yeah, Luella. Her name was Luella. Her cousin ended up getting sent away, and something happened where they ended up having to put a charm or like put this, what do you call those? They get them a lot in Greek life. A brand on her that cuts off her magic. But the twins, their family is trying to gather some money in order to raise money in order to buy permits that they'll be able to stay at home and still have their magic and practice it, I guess, freely without, they really didn't clarify on that. But anyway, in order to raise money to buy these permits, Luella, their cousin, comes up with the grand idea to have them broom race. So she introduces her to her group of friends who are a broom racing team, and they train the girls in order to raise money and earn the permits. And I really enjoyed learning about each of the characters' backgrounds. I would really enjoy a second novel, a second volume, but I don't think we're going to get one. But it was just so different than anything I've read. I don't think I've read anything similar set in the 1930s. Well, yeah, I have, but it was in graphic novel form. This is probably my first. But yeah, I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. Next, we have these 3 beauties. I did the month of February, I did a week of reading all 3 of Joya Goffney's books. I have Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry, Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl, and My Week with Him. I really enjoyed all 3 of these books. Joya Goffney is definitely going to be an automatic buy for me. Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry follows our main character, Quinn, I believe is her name. And Quinn. And she uses, in order to deal with her anxiety or any emotions she's feeling, she makes lists in her journal. But one day her journal ends up going missing. Whoever finds her journal has decided to blackmail her, because there's a list in her journal saying all the lies she's told, and so they say, if you don't complete one of your lists, I'm going to release a lie every time you don't want to complete one of these tasks or whatever. And so she's up in an uproar, but she has the help of a new group of friends who help her to deal with this blackmailer and to complete some of the things on her list. And it was so fun and so cute, and I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. If you want to hear more about any 3 of these books, I would advise you to go and watch the reading vlog, because I really had a good time reading these. Oh. Next, we have Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl. This one follows Monique. She is a preacher's daughter, and she's dating the drummer at her church. And he is a guy that's been around her family. Her dad knows who he is. Her parents have watched both of them grow up together, and they're reaching their 2nd year anniversary. Their 2-year anniversary, not 2nd year. I don't know why I said it like that. But he ends up breaking up with her, and because of some NCFW. He wants her to lose her virginity to him, and so she doesn't want to tell her, when she comes home, she doesn't want to tell her parents what happened, because obviously they're going to be like, she knows that they trust him and they think he's a good guy, but then it delves into her relationship with her mom, and her relationship of trying to convince herself that she really wants to do this with Dom, and then she ends up meeting another group of friends. I realized that in both of these 2 books by Joya Goffney, the friend groups were amazing. But anyway, she ends up meeting this guy, I think his name was Reggie, and a girl named Sasha, who she's always thought was this like stuck up, perfect Christian girl. And they kind of help her to deal with the emotions and the anxiety surrounding everything that happened with her breakup with her boyfriend. And it was just so fun. I didn't like this one as much as I loved Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry, but I can appreciate what it was, the message that it was trying to send to all the young YA girls that may pick this up, you know? Next, I have My Week with Him by Joya Goffney, obviously. And this one follows Nikki, who has received a direct message or text message, or I don't know how she got the message, from this agent in LA who wants her to come audition to be in a girl group. The only problem is Nikki's mom doesn't want her to go. Her friends and family, her friends don't want her to go. Well, one of her friends doesn't want her to go, while her other friends are cheering her on. So she ends up during spring break, she's like, I'm gonna go, and I'm just gonna stay in California. There's nothing left for me here. She has recently got into a really big argument with one of her friends, and so she just wants to be done. Oh, sorry, my dogs. So she just wants to be done with this city and move to California. And she's like, I'm gonna go to California, get signed, have all this money, and be able to survive. I'm just gonna leave. But something ends up happening where she doesn't end up going to California. So she has to end up, her mom finds out that she's about to go, and she's like, I'm changing the locks. You're not coming back here. I don't want anything to do with you. You're caught, bamboozled. Get out of here. And so she ends up going to stay with her friend that she got into an argument with. His name was, I want to say Mal. His name was Mal. She ends up staying with him. Mal is rich. He has this huge mansion. He has all this disposable income that his parents give him. And he just he's kind of like a safe space. Him and his family are kind of a safe space when she gets into these big arguments with her mom. And we just see her and Mal open up to each other more than they have and throughout their entire friendship, because they've been friends for quite some time. And you see their friendship evolve, and you also see her relationship with her mom evolve, and you see her relationship with her sister and her friends. It was just so good. I really enjoyed this one. It's a 5. This was another 5 out of 5 from Joya Gafni. Yeah. And like I said, if you want to hear more, go watch my reading vlog. It was very good. All 3 of these books. Next, we have An Unkindness of Ghosts by River Solomon. This one follows Aster, and she lives on a space station, kind of like Xenon, where set up like the antebellum South. All of the black people are on the lower decks, and they go and work on these man-made space fields, and they help harvest, and they help and they assist white people on the ship, basically. But Aster is kind of she is an assistant to the surgeon, who is kind of a head. This is something I'm confused about still after reading. I'm not sure if he is passing or they are aware that he is half black, half white. But the surgeon, he's kind of high ranking, and he allows her to experiment and help assist him on different procedures around the ship. So she kind of has more freedom than the other black people on the ship. But this was very interesting. Aster has there's this thing going on where the power in the ship keeps going off, and they're not understanding why. But Aster and her friend find a link between her mom's journal, her mom who has passed journal, that may kind of be the answer to what's going on the ship, and how they can kind of not save the day, but fix it or save themselves from it, I should say. I don't even remember what I gave this. I may have gave it 3.5 stars. Let me see. But this book put me in, yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I put this in, this gave me, I don't even know what to say. It was very interesting. It wasn't hard to read, but I don't know. I don't know if it's that I don't read enough science fiction, or it was just hard to get into the story and to connect to the story and to understand 100% what was going on at all times. But this book put me in a very deep reading slump that I'm still in, and I haven't been able to climb out of. But I don't have many thoughts on this. because I don't know if I would probably have to read or go to like a discussion on this book to absolutely get exactly what this book was trying to say, you know? That's all I can say about that. I'm trying to think and get my thoughts together, but there isn't really much I can say about it because I don't know if I 100% got it, you know? But yeah, I gave this one 3 stars. Oh, next I have another DNF, unfortunately, and that's Not So Perfect Strangers by L.S. Stratton. I don't remember what page I got to in this one, but I was having fun in the beginning, but we were going, okay, let me just tell you what this was about. So we follow our 2 main characters, Tasha and I forget the other girl. Tasha's the black girl and, oh, Madison is the white girl. And so Tasha is, at the beginning of the book, she is trying to escape an abusive relationship. She and her son are living in a hotel. Her son ends up going back right before they're about to fly to Atlanta, and he goes back home with his dad, and so she doesn't want to leave him there by himself, so she decides to go back as well. And on her way home, she sees a woman, and who we know is Madison, running from her husband and looking very distraught, so she offers to give her a ride to wherever she needs to go. Tasha assumes that that Miss Madison is in, I don't know why I want to call her Nikki, that Madison is in an abusive relationship similar to her own, but it's not quite the same. But and they start to create a friendship where there's kind of like this misunderstanding between the 2 of them on what exactly their lives entail, I guess you could say. But my issue with this, why I DNF'd, is because we're jumping back and forth between, well, I don't know if we jumped back. I think there was only 1 chapter in the future, but from that future chapter, I kind of got icky vibes on where this was going, dealing with race, and I didn't know if I was gonna like that. I don't know if that's gonna how it's going to end. I'm just assuming, but I didn't want to deal with it just in case. So if you've read this book and if it's not going to go where I think it's going to go, dealing with Tasha, who is a black woman, and Madison, who is a white woman, if it's not going to the ending I think it's going to go, let me know in the comments down below, because I just couldn't deal with it. I just felt angry just predicting it in my head of how this would end, and I just didn't want to read it anymore, so I DNF'd. Okay, and the last physical book I read this month was Snapped by Alexa Martin. This is the last book in the, what's the name of the series? I want to say it's the Intercepted series? Oh, Playbook series. And this is a series about romance novels of professional football players. And in this one we follow Elliot, who is the communications manager for the professional football team this series follows. And so she's kind of in charge, she's kind of like a PR person. And we follow our male main character, whose name is Quentin, who has decided to take a knee in this new football season. And so our main character Elliot has been tasked as to trying to, you know, PR the situation and build a relationship with him where she can get to know why he's doing this and what he wants in order to stop doing it, you know, to save face for the NFL team. This one wasn't my favorite in the series. The first and second one are always going to be my favorites. The last 2, I don't know what happened with those, but they just don't hit the same as the first 2. And I don't know how how I feel about Miss Alexa Martin's books. I don't know if I will continue to buy physical copies. And that's how we can, oh, I gave this 2.5 stars. And that's, we can kind of segue into what I read on audiobook this month, or last month, because this is March. I'm filming this very late. But I also read Next Door Nemesis by Alexa Martin in the month of February, and I gave this one 3 stars. This one follows our main character Colin and I forget the male main character's name, Nate, I think. And Colin has moved back home after a big blunder with her ex that ended up going viral. She was in LA and he ended up, I don't know if I can tell that. Is that a spoiler? Something happens with her ex that ends up being recorded, and she kind of loses her opportunities there in LA. And so she moves back home and with her parents, where she has a run-in with her ex-best friend, Nathaniel. I see it here. And we don't really know at this point, at the beginning of the novel, why they're no longer friends and what happened, but they just do not get along. Nathaniel is now the HOA of their neighborhood, and he is doing everything in his power to make sure that Colin leaves and she has nothing to do with him or their neighborhood. And to kind of get back at him and his antics, Colin decides to run for HOA president against Nathaniel. And we just kind of it's kind of just the enemies to lovers trope, where they're just fighting, but they don't really know why. They just know why they don't like each other. They just know that something happened when they were in high school that they're no longer friends. I gave this one 3 stars, like I said, and this is unfortunately a continued novel into why I will probably hold off on buying any physical copies of Alexa Martin's books. I'll just have a good old time reading them audibly, and if I like it well enough, or if there's like a consistent novel after novel of me enjoying her books again as much as I used to, I will probably pick them back up. But for right now, she's an audiobook author for me. Let me put this one back. Next, for my audiobooks, I read The Block Party by Jamie Day. I don't know. This one isn't by a Black author. I don't know why I thought it was, but it isn't. But this one follows a neighborhood cul-de-sac who everybody's like a desperate housewife situation. Everybody is in everybody's business. We jump back and forth between a community post board of them asking like something's happened in that cul-de-sac, but we don't really know, and we just get little details every time we jump back into that community post board on Facebook or whatever they're on. But we just kind of have our main family, I forget their names, but there's like a main family with the mom, dad, and a daughter, and the daughter has been suspended from school, and then and the mom is kind of like in everybody's business but also trying to hide her own business. And then we have a woman she's a single woman living in this cul-de-sac alone who has a stalker. And then we have another family the wife is a realtor, and she has moved in this new family that she thinks the wife and that new family is having an affair with her husband. It's just a whole bunch of like messy neighborhood stuff. It was okay. I gave it 2 stars because it was just, a fun time. I still haven't found like a thriller or a mystery that just like completely knocks my socks off and that I've 100% enjoyed. So if you have any recommendations for a mystery thriller, please leave them in the comments below. I'm trying to get into that genre more, The next book I read on audiobook is I Think I Might Love You by Christina C. Jones. I guess I can do all 3. I read 2 of them, I think. Well, I read 2 of them this month. But anyway, I read this series. This series, I can tell you, follows 3 sisters, the Love sisters. We have Jacqueline, Joya, and Gemma. And Jacqueline, she's kind of the sister who is kind of the degenerate. She's always in trouble. She's always getting arrested. And we follow this book where she's had a big argument with her boyfriend, and she goes to her sister's apartment to kind of cool off and have somewhere to stay. But she runs into not her sister, and she turns out her sister is subletting her apartment to this guy that she just completely forgot about. And she ends up punching him in the nose. And then when she runs out of the apartment, she ends up getting arrested because she ended up doing some damage to her boyfriend's car and to kind of on the community service she has to do for her time for incarceration, I guess you could say, is she has to work at this pet store or veterinarian shop, the veterinarian. She has to work at the veterinarian, and that's when she ends up running into the guy who's subletting her sister's apartment again. And that's when they kind of start their romantic relationship, where it kind of starts off where they can't stand each other, but by the end they love each other. But I enjoyed all three of the books in the series. The second one was probably my favorite. That one's called I Think I Might Need You, and that follows the Joya sister, the Joya love. But yeah, anyway, that's for another time. And lastly, the book I read on audiobook is The Sweetest Remedy by Jane Igharo. That is another book by this author, by The Sweetest Remedy. And in this one, we follow, what was her name? I want to say Ashley. Let's see if I'm right. Hannah. Her name is Hannah, and she has received word that her father, who she does not know, has only met a few times when she was a lot younger, has passed, and in his will he has requested for her to attend his funeral. And so this one follows Hannah as she travels to Nigeria to meet her siblings, her half siblings, and it's a bunch of mess. This one has my least favorite trope in it. We have one of her sisters is dating her dad's best friend. That's literally one of my least favorite tropes. Let me know how you feel about it. But it's just a whole bunch of mess. You know, it's messy. Your dad has a secret child and you're finding out after he has passed. But yeah, this one was okay. I gave it 3 stars. It was fun reading their relationship and with her relationship with these siblings that she's never heard of and they never heard of her. I don't want to tell that's too much. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars. Yeah, and that's everything I read for the month of February. Let me know some of the books you read last month, or yeah, last month. I'm trying to pretend like this isn't being filmed on March 15th. But anyway, let me know what you read for the month of February. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye!